Live from Orlando, Florida, you're listening to the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, the voice of Magic fans. Join us every week for a unique fan perspective on all of the latest Magic news and updates. The show starts now.
What's up, Magic fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network and Bet Online. We're your hosts, Al, myself, Anthony. Today is Friday, April 25th, and Magic are jumping into their third game of this playoff series against the Boston Celtics, playing in their first home game. Magic 0-2 so far in the series. In today's episode, we're going to talk about Game 1 and Game 2 and what it is that the Magic need to do to make this series competitive. Al, what's going on, man? 2 playoff games in. It's been physical. It hasn't been a full-on. The score itself doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. The Magic have been competitive and has shown some fight, but ultimately losing Game 1 103-86 and Game 2 109-100. So just from an outlook perspective, when you're looking at what's missing from the Magic, Paulo Banchero, obviously, some pretty big games. Offensively, he's carrying a lot of the weight for us. Franz Wagner, the Batman to the Robin, Robin to the Batman. They're both helping each other out offensively. But from there, we're finding struggles on being able to find offensive support. So just a quick outlook. When you look at these games, what are some things that are standing out to you? What's missing for the Magic for us to be able to put this game a little tighter?
I think, the blatant thing that jumps at you right away is the lack of contributions from anyone not named Paulo or Franz, right? Wendell's doing some things, 10 points, 10 rebounds, but everyone else, man, it's been hard to get any kind of production, any three-point shooting, any offense from anyone not named Paulo and Franz, which I think that was the fear that all of us had heading into the series. We knew that Paulo and Franz were going to do okay, that we're going to get their points and produce, but can someone else step up? And unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. Cole Anthony put on a great show against the Hawks last week. He helped us get into the playoffs. And in this series, he has been non-existent. KCP, we're not talking about contested shots. We're talking about wide open looks, bricking them. AB had a good game too, but Game 1, he was timid. He was nervous. You could see finishing a layup, he couldn't get it done. Getting past defenders, one of his strengths, wasn't happening. So unfortunately, as a team right now, not allowed to be excited besides Paulo and Franz, which is what we've always known. And the Celtics, man, let's be honest. They're too much to handle right now for us. Whenever we think we have the game under control, they come back and hit 3 threes in a row, and all of a sudden you're down 10 again. If it's not Jaylen Brown, it's Tatum. If it's not Tatum, it's Derek White. If it's not White, Drew Holiday gets it going. So it's tough. We knew that. Again, the Celtics, they have my respect. They are a championship contender team for a reason. They are the champions now for a reason. It wasn't going to be any series. And we said it all along. The only chance we have is if Paulo and Franz get help. And by help, we mean Wendell dropping 20, Cole getting 15, KCP scoring 16, 17 points. That's not happening. So it's been rough. I will say, though, it's been impressive to not see the Magic get blown out just yet. They've been fighting. They've been playing hard. It's been within single digits for the most part. But to get some wins at home in games 3 and 4, we need those role players to step up and help the main guys.
Yeah, it's tough. Shout out to Paulo Banchero. First game, obviously did well for us offensively. He gave us 36. Second game, 32. Franz Wagner, first game, 23. Second game, gave us 25. But yeah, man, from there, it just kind of dips down. That Game 1, your third leading scorer for us was Jonathan Isaac with 7 points. And then he follows that up with, a score of scoreless in 7 minutes. So we're not seeing Jonathan Isaac's minutes increase. So not a whole lot of contribution there. Wendell Carter, he's your third man. If he's not supporting you on the offensive end, it's going to be a rough night for the Magic. The Magic barely hitting 90 points in that first game, hitting 86, and then we barely hit the 100-point mark in game two. That just can't happen. The Celtics are a great offensive team, so it doesn't matter how great our defense is. If they're going to outscore us, we're going to struggle. And that's the tough part. Like, there's no confidence in you looking at the way that these stats are. The Boston Celtics, the way that they're looking at it is, dude, we can let Paulo Banchero score 45, 50. We can let Franz Wagner score 25, 30. The both of them aren't going to be able to score 100 points by themselves. And we're just not getting that contribution from anyone else. Now, granted, this is at the Garden in Boston. We know that we play better at home, so we are expecting for a change of pace, a change of confidence as we go into Game 3, being able to host the Celtics at home. But if there's one thing that you can at least hang your hat on, is that the Magic have been tough. They're not being pushed around. They're beating us, but we're still fighting, right? You're seeing fight from Wendell. You're seeing fight from all the guys that are jumping on the floor, and we're beating them up, right? So there was some plays that were questionable, right? The Boston Celtics fan base and some of the players, they're definitely frustrated. Al Horford, one of them, who are frustrated with the Magic and got into it with KCP. We saw in that game too. So the Magic are being tough. Tatum, I mean, him not playing game 2 after over 100 games in the playoffs, never missing a playoff game, misses his first game against the Magic for this game 2, which I'll be honest with you, if I'm the Magic, I find that a little disrespectful, right? Because the injury, granted, we don't know the severity of it. We just know that it was bothering him, that wrist was bothering him, and they decided to not play him. But the way that I see it is the Celtics feel pretty confident that they can win this series without Jason Tatum. I don't expect Jason Tatum to play Game 3 or Game 4. Why would they need to if they need to save him for the second series when clearly they're finding ways to beat us without their best player? So it's disappointing because this is a team that we have shown to be able to play really well against during the season, and then the moment when it counts the most, we're just not able to play at that same level.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we said it all along. The Celtics are a beast of a team. So would have been the Cavs if that was the matchup that we had. So the only chance, again, knowing that you don't have Jalen Suggs, knowing that you don't have Mo Wagner heading into the series, it's got to be other guys picking up the slack. And we named it before the series started. We said, Cole Anthony. We talked about Kerry Harris stepping up, KCP, Wendell, J.I. Those role players have to step up. And I think coming back home, we'll see a different energy. Of course, we're playing at home. The crowd should be in our favor. So those guys will play better. But again, if they do, you never know. Especially if Jason Tatum doesn't end up playing games 3 and 4, or at least game 3 for now. You never know. If you can steal one, let's call it tomorrow night's game 3, all of a sudden it's 2-1 with an important game 4 at home on Sunday. Anything can happen at that point. But you got to get guys to make shots, man. Like I said, KCP, I'm looking right at you, man. Like, we brought you here for this particular reason. Playoff experience, good defender, but most importantly, you got to knock down open threes. And right now, the Celtics are daring him to make open threes, and he's not. It's so refreshing to see the other side when you see, Derek White pull up and just nail them time after time again. Where they matter most, he hits them. Drew Holiday, same thing. And I'm like, man, those are vets that are helping the guys out to win some games. We need the same thing to happen here in games 3 and 4 to have a chance. Otherwise, in my opinion, man, we may not make it past Sunday because, again, the way the Celtics are playing, you need more than just Paulo and Franz to have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, when we really take a look at the stats, right? Game 2, Cole Anthony, 5 minutes, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 points. Jonathan Isaac, 7 minutes on the floor, 1 rebound, 0 assists, 0 points. Goga Batadze. There's something that I can positively say about Goga is we seemed like we had a little more energy, a little more fight when Goga was put into the game. So I'm hoping going into Game 3, he has way more opportunity to be able to contribute, because that's another element that we need for a big body that's able to do a lot for us. But even still, 8 minutes, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 points. Caleb Houston, 11 minutes, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 points. He's just out there for the cardio. These are the things that we're looking at as, if you're going to be on the floor, there has to be some level of help or support, because my boy, you're not. You might have the prettiest jump shot on the team, but at the same time, you're not a threat like that where you're scaring, you're spreading the floor out, right? Where people are forcing to keep an eye on you because you're not making any shots or any baskets for these players to respect you. Gary Harris, 13 minutes, 0 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 points. Anthony Black, better game, game 2 with 11 points in 23 minutes. Corey Joseph, 23 minutes, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 7 points. KCP, 35 minutes on the floor, 4 rebounds, 3 points. Like, this stuff just can't happen. And it's unfortunate, because we know that there's been moments where these players have shined, but if it doesn't happen in the postseason where it matters, then what are we doing? Like, we need to be able to show a different side, a different story with these next 2 home games, because if the Magic come out and just get swept in this series, I don't care who was injured for how long, this front office needs to reload and upgrade this bench heavily. We went from last season being having one of the best second units in the NBA to having the worst second unit in the NBA. Nobody's contributing from the second half in this postseason. We're not talking about the play-in. We're not talking about the season before. Right now, when it counts, who's going to step up and who's going to help Franz and Paulo, because we can't. The rest of the guys just can't sit there and just kind of watch them do their thing. If they're not supporting offensively, then we need to find other ways to be able to help contribute. But being on the floor for 11 minutes and you add nothing to the stat sheet is a problem.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it's guys that you would expect that by now would be able to produce something, right? You think about, again, Cole Anthony, J.I., Gary Harris. Those are guys that have experience. They've been in the playoffs before. That's the whole point of like running it back and building this team, this chemistry that we have as a unit. It's for the same reason. So in the playoff, it shows. And then the playoff comes around and these guys cannot score more than 2 to 3 points. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And you can't even say like, oh, Paulo and Franz are ball hogging. No, they're passing the ball to their open teammates. They're just not making shots, man. So it's unfortunate, again, but it is unfortunately glaring now as an issue that you have to address. If I am not mistaken, Cole Anthony was also not playable in the playoffs last year against the Cavs because he was getting beat up off the dribble. He was on defense getting killed and not producing on the offensive end. So guess what? This is your second time around now where, look at yesterday, he played a few minutes, got benched the rest of the game. What does it tell you for next year then? Can you depend on Cole Anthony as a guy that will be reliable off the bench to be that scoring guard that you need? Unfortunately, again, we saw it against the Hawks, but the problem is that then he disappears for 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time, and you can't have that happen. You just can't. So some big decisions. I know we're not there just yet. The offseason hasn't started yet. We'll talk about that plenty in the offseason, but for right now, again, you need those big guys to step up. And at home, I think we will see a better AB. We'll see a better Wendell. We'll see a better KCP, at the very least at home. But then you also need J.I., Gary Harris, and Cole Anthony off the bench to give you something. Because, again, if they're not giving you more than what they've given you so far, I'm sorry, but there's just no way you have a chance against the Celtics. Paulo and Franz, though, I want to switch to the positives for a second. Man, can we finally say that we have 2 legitimate stars on this team? Like, is that safe to say now?
Safe to say, yes. I mean, but here's my not to throw a negative light on there, because that is the positive. But the Magic, we just don't have anything else. We just we just don't. We just don't. Like, in order for us to have a fighting chance, the offense needs to come from somewhere, right? Ball handling by committee, what Jamal Mosley has been kind of preaching ever since Jalen Suggs went down. The ball is in Paulo and Franz's hand the majority of the time. So you expect this, right? They are stars, but we need more. We need more. When I look at and one of the questions that we're going to kind of discuss right now is which role players need to step up the most. When you look at this team, your veterans, and I'm not even looking at KCP, like the veterans of the Orlando Magic, like Cole Anthony, Jonathan Isaac, these are the oldest tenured players for the Orlando Magic, the individuals who have had the Magic uniform the longest. Paulo and Franz are your best players, but this is Cole Anthony, Jonathan Isaac's team as well, because again, they're the grandfather of the team. There's no way that we cannot get them or they can go into these games without producing to help. I'm not asking for leading scores. I'm not asking for Jonathan Isaac to go out and get 6 or 7 blocks. They just need to help.
It's all around, right? I mean, you may ask that question, like who needs to step up the most? I summarize it as the role players. Like I cannot just pinpoint one guy, because I think if 3 or 4 of them give us 10 points, all of a sudden we're looking way better than we have looked in the first 2 games. It wouldn't help if KCP drops 15, but then Wendell scores 2. Like, you need multiple of them to have a good game at the same time. It just cannot be Paulo, Franz, and one guy. Wendell did okay yesterday. So did AB. But then no one else did anything. So if we come back home, Paulo and Franz do their thing, Wendell and Cole do their thing, we still need more. So I think for me, I cannot just pinpoint one guy. I just call it the role players. Those guys have to show up. I would love for Gary Harris to have that random game where he drops 5 threes in one game. Like, that would be amazing to see it tomorrow. Nice. Caleb Houston on his own to score, 3 threes in a row and give us a nice 9-0 run. He's done that before for us. We need that kind of stuff to happen tomorrow at home to have a chance. And I'm going to throw a wrinkle in here, man. I think we need the fans to show up. I've been afraid for years. Since I moved to Orlando, I've been afraid of saying, I want to make the playoffs, but to face the Knicks, the Celtics, or the Lakers in the playoffs. I haven't seen that, or the Heat. I haven't seen that happen in person myself just yet. I'm afraid for tomorrow night, because I'm afraid to see my side of the bench where I sit behind the away team's bench to be mostly green. That would upset me, man. Like, you played so hard. These young guys deserve better. I would hate it if 30% of the Kia Center tomorrow is Celtics fans chanting, "Let's go Celtics," whatever it may be. That would be a gut punch to this young team that has played so hard, has gone through so much this year to make the playoffs, for them to get embarrassed in a way at home against a team like the Celtics. So, yes, role players got to step up, keeping it in topic here. But outside of that, we as fans got to show up and represent Orlando, man, because it's not going to be easy. There's a lot of New England people that have moved here to Orlando recently. They're trying to get tickets to this game. Don't let them. We got to show up and show these guys that we mean business.
Yeah, when we went to the Lakers game, I don't think I saw a Magic uniform until I actually got inside the arena. From the individuals parking to walking to the arena. So obviously we know that Orlando is multicultural, transition city. You got people from everywhere. So unfortunately, these teams, their fan base they're going to show up, right? But you're right. The Magic fan base need to prepare. They need to come ready, and they need to be louder. Because we know that unfortunately there's going to be a presence there. We didn't have to worry about that at all against the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Because no one's really a Cavs fan. But we know that there's going to be Celtics fans. So there would be nothing worse than to go into Game 3, lose Game 3, and there be not, and that game not feel like a home game, right? So we'll see, man. This game 3 is definitely a must-win game because you don't want to go into game 4 0-3.
Yeah, no, we can afford for that to happen. If that happens, I think we see a sweep at that point, unfortunately. Let me ask you a hot topic that we've seen a lot in this series so far is, again, the Magic's physicality. Are they being too tough? Are they being dirty? Celtics fans are now calling us. Let me back it up to that foul against Jason Tatum. From taking away our Magic hat fandom for a moment, was that a hard, dirty? Let me ask it this way: was that a hard foul, or was that a dirty foul in your eyes as a basketball fan, not a Magic fan, just a basketball fan?
I didn't think it was dirty. I thought it was obviously a hard play. Unfortunate. I think it was an accident. The same way I feel like KCP tripping over Al Horford. I did not see that as the Magic being dirty. Listen, the Magic are a defensive team. I don't think I've seen an elite defensive team not play aggressive. Like it's just part of that identity that you have as a defensive team. You kind of have to be, and we, for the most part, we're a big team also. So if we catch you in the air and there's going to be contact, and you got a 6'10", 250-pound man jumping into you, like you're gonna feel it, and that's just what it is. Like Goga Bitadze, bringing his elbow down and completely slicing Porzingis' forehead open. It's just, Goga Bitadze is a big dude. Obviously, there was a little more of force being brought down because he was a little frustrated with being held a little bit. But I personally, I didn't even think that was going to be a flagrant one. Like I didn't see harm intent. Like I didn't see him try to hurt him. Obviously, maybe an unnecessary movement, which kind of led them to look into it way more. And then obviously the blood has a lot to do with it because there was a gush. But I haven't seen the Magic in any, and this is being unbiased, I haven't seen anything where I looked at and it's kind of like, that was a little uncharacteristic.
So that's the funny part, right? All of a sudden, you got the Celtics fans labeling us as a dirty team. Like, oh, the Magic are a dirty team. All this dirty plays.
But I will say, what we're hearing from Celtics is also what we heard from the Atlanta Hawks. So maybe we're starting to see a trend, and maybe we are biased. Maybe we're not seeing it the same way that everyone else is.
But it's funny now you mentioned that the Pistons also called us that. But I will say, out of all the teams that really have a right to say that, I'll give it to the Pistons, because that Cole Anthony injury, when he injured Jaden Ivey, that was reckless. The way that he dove for the ball, he was going for the ball. I get it, but it was reckless. But outside of that, like again against the Celtics in particular, I even on TV, we're talking about national TV here, not even like the Magic broadcast team. They even say like, wait, that foul did not seem like a flagrant, the KCP one. And then yesterday with Goga, same thing. Like there was no intent. It was an accident. You could definitely see Goga right away react like, oh my God, like I'm sorry. That's not what a dirty team would do. They would hit you and they would walk away, right? Like there wouldn't be any kind of care for them hurting you. Jason Tatum, obviously, the way he landed, that's what it came down to. He landed kind of awkwardly, and that's how he got hurt. It wasn't because he got fouled so hard in his wrist that now he's hurt. So I get it. We're a physical team. Now, I will say, though, watching the playoffs and watching teams throughout the whole year, I wouldn't label us the same as the Pistons, who keep getting in fights every other game, it feels like. Or if you're watching other games, yesterday, the Warriors against the Rockets. That game, we saw the Rockets with some crazy fouls. The coach saying, keep fouling them hard. They're not going to call it. Like, that's now different. Now you're being physical on purpose. Probably not trying to hurt people, but you're trying to be physical on purpose. So I don't think the Magic are quite at that level. We do play hard. But I will say, man, Celtics fans, I respect you guys again. You guys have a great franchise history. Can't argue that. But you guys are being a little soft. Let's be honest here. Like all the back and forth with Magic fans on Twitter and all this calling us that they were being way too physical, that were playing dirty. I don't agree with that. Again, some freaky accidents have happened, but I don't think none of those calls, in my opinion, should have been flagrant fouls to begin with.
Yeah, the minute that I saw Porzingis sliced up, I'm like,
You knew.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
They're gonna blame it on us, being dirty. But again, there was nothing malicious. There was no intent behind it. Wrong place, wrong time. It was just it looked way worse than what it was. But it is what it is. We can't let off the brakes. We need to continue that aggressiveness, because that's really the only thing that really makes the Celtics uneasy and uncomfortable. And if the Magic can find a way to get more people involved and hit their 3-point shot, then we're going to be just fine. The Magic need to make sure that no matter what happens in this series, can't get swept. From a respect factor, you've done so much to build a specific reputation. Obviously, everybody knows that injuries have been a huge issue. Not having Suggs is a massive hurt to this team. Not having Mo Wagner, who's really the one person, if you're going to call anyone dirty, Mo Wagner is the guy that is probably the most suspect out of everyone on the Magic uniform. If you were to point to somebody, I can try to fight a case, but there's a chance I might lose it, trying to cover for him. But outside of that, man, the Magic just play hard, and there's big bodies, and obviously everyone's trying to do more for their team, and it hasn't gone from a health standpoint. It hasn't gone the way that I'm sure the Celtics wanted it to go. But I also blame it on them jinxing it, because they came into this playoff saying that everybody was healthy. So
Yep. Well, healthy-ish, right? Because we heard about Jaylen Brown, supposedly his knee and all these things. He's been balling so far, so he looks okay to me. The other big topic on social media lately has been the refs calling things in the Celtics' favor. So as you're watching these games, are you seeing it that way as well? 'Cause I'll tell you the facts. So the facts are the Magic got called for, let's see here, 23 fouls in Game 2. They got called for 17 fouls in Game 1, both being the highest team with foul calls. The Celtics shot 18 free throws compared to 11 for the Magic in Game 1. Game 2, the Celtics shot 33 free throws. That doubles their season average to the Magic's 24. So in both games, they shot more free throws. They've called more fouls on the Magic. Are you seeing any kind of favorable whistle for the Celtics taking place? Are you seeing any kind of weird agenda by the refs? We're always going to hear this, right? It's been a big topic of debate, especially during the game yesterday. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I'm not seeing the. If I can complain anything about the refs, I feel like there's a little more hesitation from them. There's been a lot of plays, especially that Game 2, where there was a lot of late whistles that I wasn't a fan of, as if they had to think about it a little too long. If you're going to call the foul, right? Not wait for a reaction from the player and then kind of change your direction and your decision making. I think at the end of the day, you're the 7th seed going against the defending champions. From a ratings perspective, the NBA, it just benefits the NBA more for the Celtics and making it into the second round over the Magic. And let's just call it what it is. There's no proof of anything, right? And for the Magic to have a chance, you have to take that deniability out. You got to take that away from the refs. You got to play in a way where doesn't matter what the refs call, right? There's literally minimal room for error, and the Magic haven't capitalized on that. And that's not the refs' fault. So not anything out of the ordinary. I just wish that they would, blow the whistle when they're supposed to blow the whistle and not wait, 2.5 seconds later.
Yeah, I mean, so some of the calls in Game 2 were a little suspect. Like, I know, again, you're going to fight that and lose that case all day long because the refs are the refs. They're not going to change their mind. But there was a few, right? There was an over the back against Porzingis that when Dell got called for the foul, there was a few.
That one was ridiculous.
And unfortunately, a lot of these calls are happening when the Magic are making a run. Like we go on a little 5-0 run to cut the lead to 3 or to 5, and all of a sudden a couple of these whistles happen, and the Celtics hit a couple threes, and now you're back down 12. It's like, come on, man!
Yeah.
Like we were almost there. I feel like game 2 we saw that more of that, where every time we try to come back, some random call took place to kind of keep us out of reaching the Celtics. So I'm like you, man. It's going to be 8 against 5 no matter what. Again, they're the champions. They're going to have the favorable whistle no matter what. I wish that wasn't the case. I wish in the NBA we just watched the game for what it was and you called it for what it was, not based on the color of the jersey, the player that's getting fouled. You just call it for what you see. Unfortunately, it's the NBA, man. We got to be realistic to your point. They know the agenda they have. They want to see certain teams advance. It's the reality of it. So in order for you to take that away from the refs, that power, you got to control the game better. And I will say the Magic missed 9 free throws yesterday in a 9-point loss. So if you would have made at least 6 of those or whatever it might be, it would have been a closer game at the end. So you got to your point, minimal errors to have a chance.
Yeah. Friday, we take on the Celtics in Game 3 at 7 o'clock. That game will be on ESPN. Sunday will be Game 4, game on TNT. And if necessary, we'll see Game 5 on Tuesday. And if it keeps going, following Thursday for Game 6. And then next Saturday for Game 7 if it makes it that far. Al, final perspective. I know the talk of the town has been people's disappointment with KCP. You have been extremely vocal about Kenny. So are you back to thinking that the KCP signing was a mistake? Has it not fulfilled what you expected? Because now, when you hear the reasons why we brought KCP, which is championship pedigree, which is being able to hit the 3-point line, which is obviously being able to hit 3-point shots, and then obviously being a defensive menace, is that not what you got? Is that not what you believe you bought when you signed KCP?
Oh, no. So I think that we've gotten exactly who I thought he was. He's a low-volume 3-point shooter. Great shooter when he's hitting shots, but low volume. We didn't need that. We needed a high-volume dude. Think of like a Terrence Ross on steroids. That's kind of what we needed. A guy that just comes in and is not afraid. I'm going to jack up 8, 10, 12 3-pointers in 20 minutes if needed, just because that's what Paulo and Franz need. That guy that needs to be guarded at all times in order for us to have a chance to avoid double teams from happening on Paulo, on Franz, whatever it may be. So I think we got exactly what we thought, which is a low volume 3-point shooter, solid defender. I keep asking myself, like, how many defenders do you need? Right? Like, at some point you gotta go for the guy that just can score the ball and help out the team offensively. Like the dude, great guy from what we can see, great father, great teammate, great locker room presence. We just need a guy that shoots the ball at a high level and it's not afraid to, throw and shoot 8, 10 shots a game. That's just my perspective of what we needed. 3-point shots, that is. That isn't who KCP is. That's never been the guy that he has been with Denver, with the Lakers, with whoever. So unfortunately, we're seeing it again now where he's just not making shots. And I don't know what the situation is. They're not contested threes. They're wide open looks is missing. I need for game 3 and 4 the KCP that we saw in late March, early April. If that KCP comes back and scores 12 to 15 points, making 3 to 4 3-pointers a game, we're back in business. I really believe that. We're back in business. But if he's just, scoring 3 points on 1 for 8 shooting, we have no chance.
Yeah, Magic take game 3, and then you have a 2-1 series, and the series is back to being completely wide open, and kind of putting the Celtics on their heels a bit going into game 4. So definitely game 3, must-win game. Contribution needs to come from everybody. Small errors cannot be allowed. Hitting free throws, taking care of the basketball, and the Magic need to shoot decently behind the 3-point line, on top of consistently continuing to play aggressive the way they have been. So On that note, this show was presented by Bet Online. Appreciate everyone for listening. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
For all the latest Magic news and updates, visit OrlandoMagicHQ.com and follow us on Instagram at OrlandoMagicHQ and on Twitter at OMagicHQ. Also, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform.